Hi there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on an interesting project. I'm working on my city's Sigmar kind of army here, and I've got a huge contingent of dwarfs now kind of painted up, which is great. But the other half I wanted to be having the Freeguild. Now I know the dwarfs they're kind of a defensive, they don't go very fast, so they're kind of relegated to defense. And instead of receiving charges all the time, I wanted some guys to kind of go out and kind of take the charge to the enemy there. So one of the things I wanted to do was go through these Freeguild. Now I've got loads of these guys, loads and loads and loads. And my thinking is I would do kind of a fast track across like big squads so that I'd have them painted and ready to go, and just kind of emotionally nice. And then I'll come back in and highlight them. So I'm going to do basically 3 parts to this video. This is the part 1. I want to see how fast I can get this guy done in contrast. Part 2 is going to be about kind of adding the extra details, to come back after everyone else was kind of painted, which would be great. And so that might be an optional one if you like. You can save that for your heroes. And then number 3, I'm going to talk about quartering up the, just kind of the patterns that I use to, for the different bits of cloth here, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, especially with these 6-ed spearmen. They're very, very, very repetitive. There's 4 poses, but if you quarter it all up, it actually works out pretty well. Okay, so the plan here is to go heavily into the contrast, which I think is great. I don't think contrast is good for big, slick surfaces. It's definitely not good for vehicles. It gets a little kind of smudgy and blurry, and you end up just painting it anyway. So what I'm going to be doing here is using contrast on the cloth, on the face. I love the flesh tone for this, which is great. The plume up here, the feathers, the little tassel kind of on the end of the spear. So basically we're going to hit just the fabrics and cloth as fast as we can. So the plan here, now I'm not going to time all of the opening and closing of the bottles and things like that, because if I'm working on 20 or 30 or 40 of these guys all at once, I'll already have the paint pot open. So I'm going to start and stop the timer, but I'm really interested to see how fast I can get this guy out. So I've got my handy old kind of iPhone here, which I hope you can see. Perfect. All right. So let's get going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the RETRIBUTOR armor, and I'm going to pick out all kind of the finer details first. Now I've detailed this a lot in some of my other videos, kind of that subtractive edge highlighting. What's really important about this is to go in after these individual pieces here. Now normally I'd be a little bit messier, but I don't want to get any on the cloth because that's what I'm ultimately going to be coming back to. So anything that is kind of these rivets, I want a little bit of a goldish edge to them. I didn't start the timer there. Let's do this again. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to pretend to paint. And then we go up and over here. I've already screwed up the experiment. Okay, stop. 10 seconds. 11 seconds. Let's make it 15. Let's make it 15. 14. 50. Great. Okay, because I talk a lot. Okay, perfect. So there's that. The next thing that we're going to do now is I'm going to grab my LEADBELCHER here. Now, I'm sure people are going to leave comments about how I haven't thinned out my paints. I actually throw a couple drops of water in beforehand, and yeah, it makes total sense to me. It makes life a lot easier, and your paints come out nice and thin. So you just got to shake the crap out of them anyway. Okay, moving on to LEADBELCHER now. So again, in theory, kind of daisy chain painting these guys. Can you hit start on the timer? And then I'm going to go in here and just very carefully do this plating. That's right in here. Now a little bit of detail work, mind you, but I don't want to get any of that flesh tone messed up there. All right, perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to come in and wash this after. So a little bit of detail going on here. Okay, stopping the timer. Okay, 46 seconds. Not bad, not bad. All right. Next up now, I'm sure 5 of those seconds we can sneak back. We can sneak back for sure. Okay, now I don't want to kind of overlap these different things because I am kind of working my way through. Oh, I forgot one thing. Load up my paintbrush. The tip of his spear. All right, so start the timer, and I'll do the tip of his spear. All right, done. Stop. Okay. 1 minute and the metallics are done. Perfect. Let's do the flesh because it's not touching a lot of the metal here. So I'm going to go in here and grab my Guilliman flesh, which is this guy right here. Now I'm not going to water this Guilliman flesh down because I want to be able to go and just kind of apply it directly. It actually thins out super nice. Oh, I forgot one more metallic on the helmet there. Okay, here we go. Start. So I'm just going to blob this in over the flesh. Now it looks pretty bad now, but it thins out quite nicely. All right, and we'll do this on the hands. Okay, perfect. Okay, stop. Minute 18. All right, already starting to come together. Okay, so I just kind of dried the the flesh tone here. I'm going to be going to the blues. Will be next. Now I'm going to the blues because I want to make sure that metallic, those metallic pieces in there, were kind of dried, and I want to make sure the flesh was there because I'm going to be manhandling the model a little bit. So I just gave it a few seconds, and I did a little bit of extra blow drying on there. And now we're going to work on our TALASSAR blue. And the blue is going to be used just for the plumes, the tassels, any kind of sashes, anything super decorative. All right, so I'll load up the brush here with TALASSAR blue. Okay, and I'll hit start, and we'll get right in there. So I'm going to work on this plume up here. If it goes on a little thick, that's cool. You can spread it around a little bit. All right, perfect. All right, and then I'll do the little tassel up here as well. Nice. All right, little fiddling this one, but good, done, stop. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, so while that blue is drying, I'm now going to work on one of the two colors. So I'm going to start with the yellow because it's going to be yellow and red. And you can see that I've just taken like a little pen here and I've just kind of demarcated a line, kind of on the collar and where his butt is and on that cod piece there. Okay, so everything to the one side of that line I'm going to do with IYANDEN yellow. This looks like it's drying out now, which is good. So I'm going to do IYANDEN yellow, and then the other one I'm going to do the red. Okay, so, and again, I would have all these guys pre-marked up for quartering, all right? I'll load up my brush. All right, I'll hit start, and off I go. So any of the sleeves here, and any of the pants, I'll just kind of do an IYANDEN yellow. Now, it's actually really interesting how it dries off. Get that half of the cod piece there. Get that underneath tucked in, tidied up. Looks good in this little corner in here. Okay, done. All right. So that goes fairly quickly, which is nice. All right. Beautiful. Forgot his foot. All right, we'll add a second to that. 2 seconds. Okay, perfect. All right. So it looks really good. And let that sit. Now obviously if we're tearing through a bunch of guys it'll go fast, but look how immediately it already starts collecting in here. I love this color. I think it's pretty darn awesome. Yeah, really nicely done. Alright, so our next color here is going to be our Flesh Tearers red. I really like the look of this red. It's nice, it's deep, it's got lots of kind of soul to it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's like a truck driving back and forth as we go in the back. Alright. It will not stop us though. We're good. Okay, here we go. Hit start. Flesh Tearers red. So I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before. So on that half, I'm going to tuck into here and make sure I get nice coverage all the way through. And with that bone undercoat, it's got loads of character. Swooping in for some more red. Has to go in a little thick here. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'll get this all in. Taking a little bit longer, losing some time on this one here. But it looks Good. Stop. Perfect. Good coverage. There's a few touch-ups maybe, but not bad. I was under time pressure. There we go. Nice. Add a couple seconds for that. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right on. Okay, looking good. Coming together, actually. It's coming together really quickly, which is great. All right, next up. Okay, so as those other colors are drying, I'm going to use Wildwood Contrast as the base for my wood in the spear. And this one is got loads of pigment in it, so you just got to be a little bit careful as you go along. Okay, so here I'll hit the timer and we'll get in there. So this is a nice simple just kind of application of this here. You just don't want it to pool too much. All right, you don't want to run over your other colors. You hear that truck back there. All right, I'll just sneak in here. All right, perfect. Stop. Oh, missed a spot in there. Let's hit start again. Oh yeah, big miss. There you go. All right, stop. Perfect. All right, so this actually settles out, even though it's kind of mucky right now, it actually settles out pretty nicely. Okay, for any of the leathery stuff, I'm going to use my black Templar. This is a really nice alternative to what I've been doing before. Typically, I've been taking Eshin Gray and then kind of washing it down, but this is actually a really nice touch. And even if we come in with a bad and black later to kind of get the you know, kind of redarken some of the surfaces, you get a really nice effect in there. So again, this is another one of the ones that I'm fairly new to, but I actually really like the way it kind of goes down. All right, so let's do this. So I'll hit start and I'm going to do the hat like this. Okay, I'm going to leave, there's a little nub in there I'm going to leave for kind of a gold trim when everything's dried off. All right, and because that LEADBELCHER that I'm going to be using in there is a base color, it'll work just fine if I slop onto the hat a little bit there. All right, beautiful. Stop. Now, one of the things I did forget as I just hit start on the timer there is the little shoulder straps here, and I want to do those in the black contrast as well. A little shaky today, apparently lots of coffee. Perfect. Stop. Now, from a base color thing, there's just kind of two things left on here. I just want to make sure I catch his helmet underneath there. I need to do his hair, and I need that little pip there under his plume. So starting with that little pip, I'm going to use Retributor Armor again, and I'll just tap that little button that's right kind of there. All right. Oh, stop. And then I'll take my LEADBELCHER here and I'll just do his helmet underneath that cap. Perfect. Now, a color that's entirely kind of optional here is this Skeleton Horde contrast, and I like using this for kind of that bleached colored hair. You know, been out in the sun kind of a whole bunch. So I'm going to go in here now, and that's just this little bit of hair that's kind of sticking out the back there. Just make sure I got not too much. I'm just going to blast that here with the Skeleton Horde. Okay, so here we are. We're at the 5-minute mark. You know, he's pretty much ready to go. I've got a little thing I have to do. I have to do his shoes. But the last thing I'm going to do is a bit of a pin wash. Now, you can use this with straight NULN oil. You know, water it down a little bit. But I've got this wash that I use for pretty much everything. It's just a little custom wash tossed in a bottle here. It's 25% AGRAX EARTHSHADE, 25% NULN oil, and 50% just regular everyday floor wax, actually, like floor polish, floor wax. And the floor wax acts as a kind of a flow aid, and it works out really, really well. Okay, so we'll use that, and we'll just pin wash this guy here, and it just brings a little bit of depth and detail back to the model that we wouldn't have normally, especially on the metallics. Okay, so let's start. Now I'm not going to wash the whole guy. I'm just going to do and just kind of sneak it in the creases and cracks, kind of around, you know, just kind of the edging of the metallics here. I'll do it up here as well. And what we're just going to do is just give it just a little bit of extra personality kind of back, just so we have a little bit more definition of character in there. Okay, I'll do it up top. All right, and we're good. All right, so he's pretty much done here at this point. He's kind of table ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop here. We're at 539.37. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to do the base. Now, obviously, your basing is going to be different techniques or time or whatever. But really happy. Let's see what the base looks like. Okay, I started working on the base for this guy to show you how cool it looked when it was all together, but I forgot something. Of course I didn't do his shoes. So I'm going to do his little shoes with Black Templar here. It's kind of one of the ones I forgot. But that'll take us up to an even 6 minute, I suspect. All right, here we go. Ready? Let's do it up. So the shoes are a little bit weird. I'm just going to do the base of the feet and just kind of over the toes at the back. It's his little, I don't know what they're called in German, but they're little zapatos, you know, little tiny shoes. So paint's still a bit wet there, so I hope this works out. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to do the fronts of the shoes like this, bloop, 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 bloop. And then I'm just going to go around the edge, this and the back and this like this, and then the edges. And we can see this here and here. All right, stop. Oh, 558. Perfect. Okay, here he is. The base really kind of sells it. Now, I wouldn't call this guy complete. I'm going to do more with this. I'm going to do a phase 2 video, but for 6 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes, 58.13 seconds. But he turned out great. Like, I'm super impressed with this. I will play with this guy easily. So if you do a big batch of these guys, 20, 40, whatever you need for them, because they come in 10s, you'll be able to get them tabletop ready. And this will take no time at all. 6 minutes a dude. And I was talking lots kind of as I was going around. But if you're focused and you get it done, you'll have them done in no time, which is great. So I'll do a phase 2, kind of talking about what I would do. I'm just going to do some, just kind of bring everything up. But that contrast is doing the majority of the work. Or I could just leave it like this. It's fantastic. So that's it for this one, guys. Man, I hope you like this one. There's going to be a lot of Freeguild in my future. And I hope to kind of address that big challenge with just kind of getting through it fast, which is pretty darn awesome. So thanks a lot for watching. If you like this one, obviously jab that like button. And kind of, shows the YouTube algorithms that you appreciate what's going on here. And if you want to see more like this and you're new, consider subscribing. Just jab that subscribe button, hit that little belly-do thingamajigger there, and you'll get notifications of all the future videos. And that's it for me. We'll catch you in the next one.